And we're live. Grant spawning on the far left-hand side here of Golden Wall. What a fun map to start things off on. Representing Maus Sports and Germany. It is Big Gabe himself, HeroMarine.
What a player. But his opponent in the bottom right, playing for Cosmos Esports, recently signing on for one more year, so congratulations to him.
Yeah.
It is the Swedish Zerg player, Rickard Mechanics Bergman. It's SortOf.
So we talked a bit about HeroMarine, Grant. You know, if you watch StarCraft at all, you know this German player. He wins the weekly single elimination cups week after week. He puts up incredible results at not just smaller online events. Any online cup he joins, he dominates. But the large events as well. I'm thinking TSL 5. I'm thinking last season's DreamHack Summer. This player needs really no further introduction. But let's take a moment to talk about SortOf, our Zerg player, opening with a very safe hatch gas pool opener here.
Yep.
What's been going on with SortOf for the last few weeks, Grant?
I don't know, because SortOf, if you don't know, has spent the last couple of years, I believe now, in Korea. On the Korean ladder, where he's very, very high ranked. He does extraordinarily well online, and I'm not sure if it's a mental block, but he can just never perform in major tournaments. And everyone has been saying, this is the breakout tournament for SortOf, and it hasn't come. And I still have faith, because we see these glimpses, these gleams of brilliance from the Swede, and I hope he can do it, but he needs a result. He needs this group, Group D, arguably the group of death. There's 7, I would say 7. How many players are in the group? 8, right? Yeah. There's 7 of these players that I look at and go, they could advance if they play good StarCraft. I mean, I feel like, I hate to put anyone down, but I feel like Cast has the hardest go of it. With SortOf also maybe struggling as well. But apart from that, everyone is insane. And HeroMarine, like, he won last week's ESL. It's not like he's in bad form. He even tweeted he feels great. And I don't know. I don't know what goes on with SortOf. I really don't, because I want him to do well. You know, you see these players that have grinded for years to get this best result. Wow, that's greedy, Gabe. And SortOf just hasn't got it. And I'd love to see it, you know.
Yeah, this, as you said, this Group D, some of the other groups, there is a sort of a clear distinction, right? We can look at those groups and say, okay, there are 4 spots in these group stages for players to move on. In some of the other groups, it's easy to say, okay, it looks like these 4, 5, maybe 6 players are definitely possibilities to move along. But the other players, you know, it's going to be a real struggle, and they're certainly glad to be here, and they're great players. But for them to move on would be very difficult. Whereas in Group D, as you said, something like maybe 7 of the 8 players, and you know it's a tough group when Cass is the player who you're like, well, he's probably not going to make it through, right? That's insane.
To drop some names, Denver, Elaser, Marine Lord, Euthermal, HeroMarine. Aquaron is a newcomer, but he's real good, signing to Team Rotti. Then you've got Cass, of course, one of the old school guys, could be here for a long and has impressed, has done some great matches. And SortOf, I think, worries me. Marine Lord did qualify last time in DreamHack Summer, and it's going to be real difficult for any one of these players. Even someone like Euthermal, I think he has a couple of bad games, maybe doesn't make it. But for now, talking about this game, we did see a very fast free CC here from HeroMarine. SortOf has been looking pretty standard, getting his Baneling Nest now, his 3rd hatchery on the way. I don't know if he's managed to see the 3rd CC. No, he's seen nothing in the main, so playing very blind. Yes, Creighton, to your answer as well, to your question, because I'll forget otherwise. Everything looking pretty good. Stim on the way. There's going to be, of course, bioplay here from HeroMarine. Anything catching your eye so far, Creighton Olsen? Cool. I don't know if we're still live, so I'm just going to keep talking. +1 on the way here for Gabe. Creighton, I can't hear you.
I've muted my microphone, Grant. I'm so sorry. I was trying to type to you and prevent my keys from clickety-clacking. Yes, as you're saying, anything catching my eye, absolutely. Unlike last series where we had 2 very unorthodox openings from our Protoss players, this game, aside from maybe a bit of a greedy early 3rd base from HeroMarine, about as standard as you could expect. bio from our Terran player. We see Barrack number 3 finishing up right now, Stim finishing, combat shields on the way, and over on the Zerg side of the map, 3 bases, Lair Tech, Spire, Baneling speed, looks like Ling, Bane, Muta out for SortOf. This is a style that a lot of Zerg players have been favoring the last few weeks. I've seen more Ling, Bane, Muta the last few weeks than I'm used to seeing. And SortOf does really well with this style. He's a player known for his control.
Yeah, now one thing I will say is this is a sort of 2-base Muta in inverted commas. The third is down, but he got that Spire and Lair very early as the 2 bases were saturated, and he was taking his third. And that means that 8-ish Mutas are going to hit very, very quickly in HeroMarine's main. HeroMarine, of course, only just getting Stim. He went for that third CC. He's vulnerable. I don't know if he has missile turret. No. 4. Okay, very yes then. Okay, so Gabe is prepared for this, maybe doing his research. I don't know how much he has had the chance to see. Let's take a quick look here. Okay, Gabe has actually seen nothing, and still yet is very prepared for 2-base Muta. Big Link counterattack coming into this gold base.
Yeah, these are players who definitely don't feel like they signed an agreement to do a 10-base or a 10-minute no rush. Already SortOf with 10 SCV kills. This is huge, actually. One of the only ways to stop HeroMarine from getting up to his ball of death Marines are definitely that sorry, one of the only ways to stop him is to do this early game economic damage, and that's something SortOf has done. If we look at the income graph from these players, we can see that's going to put SortOf in the lead economically.
Yeah, and guys, I know there's a couple of production issues. We will sort it after this match. We'll swap over production. We don't know why it's happening, but there's 2 of us and we're both prepared to sort it. So please stick with us. I know it's not great. It's one of those things. We don't have a producer. This is just me, Creighton, and that's it.
A million and one factors that can go wrong in any production.
Yeah.
Another Ling run by here from SortOf getting in here. It looks like he is going to get cleaned up, but a few more SCVs going down here. What a big difference a couple of moments makes here, as HeroMarine previously setting up for a big attack on the 3rd base, but now forced to go back home. SCVs going down to both Mutalisks and Zerglings, Grant.
22 workers have died, and that number's still rising, my friend. The gas guys will go down over here as well on the gold base. And HeroMarine did, as I said, he played quite greedy, and the early Mutas and the Ling Rumblers really finding their mark. And now the worker count very heavily favors our Zerg player, and this is what he needs. He cannot, as you said very intelligently, he cannot let Gabe get to that stage of the game where he can be big Gabe. He can't get a big group of units and just A move and then split and be a nightmare. He has to keep him back and be able to build up a bigger army or kill him with counterattacks. And SortOf off to the races, man.
Off to the races indeed. We see +1 melee and +1 flyer attack and +1 carapace all coming down at the same time. That 1, 1, and 1 upgrades going down for our Zerg player as SortOf grabs a 4th base. HeroMarine still just sitting back, working on his 2-2, getting +1 vehicle armor for those Widow Mines to last a little bit longer against Banelings. But this is going to come down to a lot of control. Both players still in a good spot, but HeroMarine clearly not happy with the amount of damage he's taken this early against these Mutalisks. Look at how much static defense he's building right now. 2 missile turrets in the gold base, a missile turret in each other base as well. What do you think about HeroMarine's attacks here? A drop on the top base and then pushed away in the middle.
Yeah, the big thing that Gabe has going for him right now is upgrades. He's massively ahead. His 2-2 already just about halfway done, whereas we're only getting 1-1-1 finishing up here for our Zerg player. And that concerns me because, as we said, Gabe's got that supply right now. He's at 97, make that 100 army supply, and he is moving in. And this is where he's so scary, when his army is together, or, you know, ish, and he can do this pre-split, moving slowly, methodically. I mean, German efficiency, man. But he has been pulled back once again. There's another Link counterattack.
This is insane. Every time HeroMarine sets up for a big push where he's like, all right, I've got my army on the other side of the map. I'm going to go ahead and go across and do some damage. SortOf manages to slip some Lings, usually around this north passageway that he's been using to sneak them in to the natural into the 3rd. And it's prevented HeroMarine from really doing any damage. But now it looks like HeroMarine finally has enough army supply. 58 Marines on the map, 7 medevacs, a couple of Hellbats even just for good measure, and a few Widow Mines. This is going to be a really tough hold here for SortOf, who's a little bit behind on army supply.
Yeah, the Baneling count is good, though. We're looking in the 30s almost, soon to break that 30 mark. And that's the kind you need. And look at the north side of the map once again, Creighton. There are units already queued up. It looks like they're going to come and deal with the drop, which I do like. HeroMarine, if he makes a mistake, he is very vulnerable to Banelings right now. His army is squishy, you know? There's no Marauders, there's 1-4. That is it to tank the Banelings. There are 8 Widow Mines, and I believe Drilling Claws is not done. Yeah, there we go, 3 seconds. So there is Drilling Claws as well, so he's got that he's got that tool to deal with them, but if the Banelings find the connections, this will fall apart the game. That's not the connections. Banelings once again rolling in, as I seem to have lost Creighton.
Gosh darn it, I'm so sorry. Every time I start typing, I turn my microphone off. But yes, as you said, those Widow Mines going to be so essential to try and get the connections that they need. And HeroMarine doing a decent job splitting there, saving himself. But this Mutalisk flock continues to get scarier and scarier. Grant, what do you think about SortOf's choice to continue to invest in these Mutalisks instead of maybe transitioning to some more Hive tech units? There's still no Infestation Pit down. Yeah,
I think he knows he can't take his foot off of the unit pedal, so to speak. He has to make non-stop Lings and Banes, and also if you have the gas, and you can see SortOf does have money, he may as well make Mutas. Mutas can trade against Marines in, you know, if they dash in and dash out, they can certainly find it. The 4s are making this a little bit more difficult though. I'm a little bit worried right now. Because the 4 count is pretty high. Oh no, it's only 2. Okay, that's not too bad.
It feels high because they're split across the map.
Chugging shots.
Oh.
Oh my god, so many Mutas just died. We've now seen how many Mutas go down in total. 22? Okay, I mean, cost efficiency. Take a look at the units lost tab, Creighton. And do the math, man. Because Gabe, despite losing so many workers this game, he hasn't really lost anything else. 61 workers? That's nothing for a game of 12 minutes long.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what's really interesting here. If you actually look at the, I don't know if you can see those income graphs, Grant, I don't think you can, but SortOf has been in the income advantage now for about the last 5 minutes of the game. Ever since he got this 5th base up, he's been high on drones, but now HeroMarine really putting the pressure on. Drop in the main, drop in the natural. That drop at the top being cleaned up here, but SortOf being pulled left and right. This is exactly the way you'd expect a Terran to play against a Lingbane Hydra army, or a Lingbane Muta army, rather, is to attack in multiple places at once and try and make sure that SortOf simply can't respond to it.
Yeah, and SortOf just was forced to make a big round of drones. Nearly 20 drones being produced in the last minute or so. And that is not what he wants. Oh my god, the friendly fire on those Widow Mines was massive. Oh. Okay, if he could take down this 4, that's going to put him in a better position. But the 4 is actually standing kind of strong. Baneling's crashing into it. Yeah, they don't do piss all, mate. This 4, how many kills has it got? Has it only got 4? 15. Okay, yeah. I mean, the Widow Mine there did so much friendly fire to all of the Marines that were supporting. But SortOf is still very much in this. Sure, he's down his supply. His upgrades are starting to get there. My concern is his upgrades won't be going further. There's still no Infestation Pit, Creighton, also.
Still no Infestation Pit. That's a huge problem right now. Look at this, SortOf hoping to go for a big attack on the south side of those Mutalisks, but unfortunately HeroMarine now keeping the pressure on in the middle of the map here. So far, this has been a very northern-focused game on Golden Wall, but SortOf is just fleeing for his life right now. I don't see this going well for him. He's going to try and engage with these Mutalisks into the Thor and the Widow Mines. The Widow Mines getting a decent shot on the Overseer, not the Mutalisks, but there are more Widow Mines down here, and it's going to be so tough for SortOf to break out of this contain. GG, HeroMarine grabs game number 1.
I can't, I just can't figure out how you beat this kid as a Zerg player, because SortOf killed like 25 workers within the first 7 or 8 minutes. HeroMarine never really got the gold-based rock and roll in until you know, later on into the game. It was pretty decimated, all things considered. But he just got stuff, and then he used stuff, and then he won. He didn't lose stuff apart from workers. He's looking pretty great, man.
He got stuff, he used stuff, and he won. That sounds right to me, Grant. The game ticking down now to number 2, SortOf in a really difficult spot. And this is almost, I mean, I don't want to blow my own horn, but this is kind of what we predicted, right, Grant? SortOf a player who's been famously very good in the past, very competitive in the past, but HeroMarine, a player on top of his game, riding the crest of his success right now, and going to be a very difficult opponent. Not just here in the group stages, but later in the game as well. Let's hop in to game number 2 here. Gonna be on Ice and Chrome LE.
Yeah, Ice and Chrome isn't a map that we actually see like a huge amount. We see a decent chunk, but it's not the most common map. Typically, you see, you know, Eternal every series, except not this one. It was actually vetoed.
Yeah.
The 4th ban here, but and then you see Death Aura almost every series. And occasionally in a TVZ, typically you see more Golden Wall. But this time we do get Ice and Chrome in the TVZ. Let's introduce our players, because in the top right, representing Mouse Sports, I believe he is the second or third longest tenured player on a team now. TLO is at the top.
Wow.
But it's slightly up there. He is the German Terran player. It's HeroMarine.
And his opponent on the bottom left-hand side in the blue, representing Cosmos Esports and the Zerg, it's our Swedish player trying to bring this back after a rough game one. It's SortOf. Oh man, so a rough game one for SortOf, but it looks like he's not changing too much right now. Again, we've got that hatch first, into hatch gas pool, very standard stuff, and a barracks down in the standard location for HeroMarine. These guys not taking a lot of chances. It's really interesting, Grant, here in DreamHack. You know, these are group stages, obviously, so you don't have to win every single map, but you don't want to, you don't want to usually go too crazy with your build orders. And I feel like sometimes we see the players who are at the bottom end of the competitive spectrum here, players like our Couguars, like our Soldiers, trying something a little wackier to try and maybe get something done, whereas our more established players, HeroMarines, Rainers, not going to try these early game, not going to see a 12 pool, not going to see a triple proxy racks. What do you think it is about these players like HeroMarine who are a little bit more accomplished, a little bit more stable, doing a little bit more normal rates, normal builds, rather?
Whilst I love it against a player like SortOf, where you are the favorite, I've always thought there's something Serral does, or Serral will cheese. And he will cheese like a champion when the situation arises, especially if he's playing against someone equal, maybe a Korean or one of the top Europeans. Sarah will cheese them. And Gabe doesn't do that. I think it's a very useful tool to have. I don't know if he's been adding any in the EU weeklies. I typically avoid his games because everyone wants to cast it.
Right.
But yeah, again, free CC. This is so fast.
Wow.
For the third CC.
And I believe this is...
Before the factory's finished.
Yeah, I believe this is even a faster third CC than in game number one. Because I think he went 1-1-1 into third CC in game number one, which is still a normal, like, third CC location, or a third CC timing. This is a more aggressive, or economically aggressive, third CC timing. So there was a really interesting article I read a few weeks ago about the difference between... Terran players who drop a third CC just because it like fits into their build, and like you can, if you've got 400 minerals at this point in the game, you may as well. And then there are some builds where you specifically cut corners, you specifically avoid things to grab a third base even earlier to be more economically aggressive. And this is certainly the latter. This is one of those builds even before the factory is finished, as you said, that third CC coming down. Is HeroMarine being too greedy here, or can he back this up with good play?
Double Reaper's going down is a bit of a shame for him. He's lost a lot of momentum at the other side of the map, and that's going to allow some Lings to get out. But look how late the third is here of SortOf. It's going to be very quick muters again. There's no way it's anything else. But this time, Gabe has seen everything. He didn't see the gases go down on the natural as they go down right now, but he saw the lair timing, and that's very indicative, I believe, of mutalist play. So you can see he's getting the eBay already, Stim on the way. I think he took too much damage in game one. I mean, it's hard to say that when you saw how handily he won. But it could have been even more one-sided if Gabe had played a little bit safer and not taken so much damage. Going for the gold, it's ballsy, to say the least. There's that Spire, as we said. I think in this game, he's sure he's going for that quick third, but it's not quite as open here on Ice and Chrome, where you can attack it with the mutas from multiple angles and the Ling run-bys. As long as Gabe takes no damage, and I don't really foresee any damage being taken for a while, it's going to be real good, man.
You know, last game, the saving grace for SortOf were those Mutalisks that he got out. He had pretty decent Mutalisk control for the entire game and was able to compound his attacks with some Ling run-bys, and then adding on to that some Mutalisk run-bys and then our Mutalisk flybys in a different position. That was one thing that he did really well last game. Of course, then he had a bit of miscontrol and lost all of them later. So I do like his choice to go for Ling Bane Muta again. My only concern is that it didn't work last game. HeroMarine doing the same build again. The definition of insanity, Grant, is doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Different results, yeah, especially if it does. I mean, saying it doesn't work was... I mean, it kind of did, I guess, but it didn't because he lost. And this game, you know, at this point last game, just as that third landed on the golden wall, the lings were there. Look, Gabe's adjusted. He's already got Marines in position. There's Hellions in the mineral line. He's getting a turret very quickly. Gabe's doing the same thing, but better. SortOf's doing the same thing, but we've not seen it as good. Because he's not found damage yet, and he really, really can't let Gabe get this ahead. Gabe's already at 55 workers. He's also got mules, so I mean, if we take a look at income right now, we should see HeroMarine mining 700-800 more minerals a minute. He's going to explode in like 3 minutes, and this game is going to be real tough for our Zerg.
This is looking like a really standard timing here for HeroMarine. He's gone for the 1 engineering bay, and if you only drop 1 NG bay, usually that means you're going to go for +1/+1 attack, so a 1/1 attack, because it just takes too much time to get 2/2 out. If you don't have double engineering bay, it takes a good solid, to the 10-minute mark before you can get out those +2/+2 upgrades. So combat shield's about to finish up, stim already done, the Mutalisks again going to fly in, but already static defenses here. The guy in the missile turret spinning roundy round, driving these Mutalisks away, and sort of not seeing any ways in here. He will, of course, keep trying. As you said, his name is Rickard Mechanics Bergman. If anybody can sneak those in, he can. But HeroMarine already pushing on to creep, and his +1 armor is almost like a countdown clock onto a bomb that's going to explode.
And it's so interesting from Gabe because, you know, a lot of other Terrans, if we were watching Ufirm or Kellish or those other top Terrans, they'd have been dropping, they'd have been all over the map. Widow Mines maybe would have been going and burrowing in mineral lines. No, he's just getting stuff, and then he's going to press A, he's going to click behind the guy's main, and he's going to go and get himself a cheeseburger. He just, once he gets his stuff, oh, that was a big friendly fire. The bacon's rolling in, off creep. I don't know about this SortOf, you're never going to get the connections off creep. Okay, he does save them. +1 on the Mutas is about 3/4 of the way done. Upgrades right now favoring Gabe, and I mean, just look at the splits.
Look at those splits, gorgeous stuff. There are 10 Marines here, and he's going to destroy everything. He's not even going to lose the medevacs, the Mutalisks. Oh my god, with 50 army supply to 48. But the workers, even HeroMarine is still in such a strong position here. Plus, he's built his second engineering bay. He's working on +2 now, but this +1 armor about to finish up. And as we said earlier, Grant, a ticking time bomb has been activated, and now HeroMarine is free to move across the map. Ooh, he's being a bit conservative though. Look at this. Yeah,
I think he's bringing the boys together. I think that's his what he wants to do right now. You can see the army coming together, and this should be the push. And this is Gabe, so we won't see, you know, one medevac loaded up and sent elsewhere. He's just going to go, clear the creep, kill everything, and then, as I said, go and enjoy 7 cheeseburgers. We have a counter-attack here from SortOf at the third base. This is bringing Gabe home. SortOf certainly impressive with these counter-attacks. Mutas as well joining. Oh my god. Widow Mines. Yeah, I'm borrowing them, mate, because friendly fire is a real concern here for Gabe. Only 2 workers going down, though. He's at 71 workers plus mules. Right now mining, actually slightly less than SortOf, but I mean, as soon as those mules drop, that will change very quickly. He needs a 4th. Oh, it's landing right now. Fantastic. I hate to be one-sided when I commentate, but Gabe, I just can't see him making mistakes. That's the thing, you know, he plays so economically greedy with a very, very fast third CC just after his first racks. And he goes unpunished. He's now up to nearly 80 workers. And that's been unpunished. He's even in supply. His bank is already pretty decent. His upgrades are ahead. Like, what's he doing wrong?
Well, I'll give you one counterexample of something that he hasn't quite done yet. Traditionally, in TVZ, the Terran's job is to create economic stress on the Zerg player, right? Usually I say if you haven't gotten any drone kills by about the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-minute mark, you're making some real mistakes in a TVZ. It's usually the onus is on the Terran player to do that economic damage. Famously, Zerg players, if you let them do what they want to do, then they can just run you over with a late-game army before you're ready. That's just how the race operates. I will say the one thing HeroMarine hasn't done right now is killed any drones. 1 drone has gone down this game. And so far the trades are fairly even for the 2 players. So SortOf should have a little bit of space that he needs. He should have the breathing room he needs to do this damage. He just hasn't really found a way to counter just yet.
No, and whilst I agree with your point, when the Terran player is expanding like a Zerg player and building workers like a Zerg player, that kind of loses a little bit of onus because Gabe has 80 workers plus mules. Right now he's mining 3,400 minerals a minute. That's huge. He's pretty much maxed. His 2-2 is done. His 3-3 instantly started. Drilling Claws coming in just 2 seconds. And when you get... This is where Gabe just rolled over his opponent last time. SortOf is doing okay with the counterattacks with the mutas, forcing a cancel there on one of the CCs. But yeah, Gabe is just going to throw down an extra command center in pretty much every base. He's even adding bunkers. That's just like, okay, I'm done. Like, I know I'm in a good position. I can afford this little bit of extra investment in defense because I am going to move out soon.
Absolutely, and move out soon. I think he's looking to do, queuing up his entire army into the middle of the map here, rallying all his units. The Mutalisks are going to see just the edge of this army. HeroMarine's going to see just the edge of the Mutalisks. Both players hungry for blood right now, sort of running away first, though. Doesn't want to eat those Thor shots. Look at that, Grant. One volley from one Thor. The entire Mutalisk block down to about half health. There's a big push coming right now. Baneling's crashing into everything for HeroMarine, but the splits are too good. The creep is not far enough forward, and a beautiful scan from HeroMarine going to continue pushing that creep back, sort of being contained on 5 bases, and HeroMarine building bases 5 and 6 back home.
And just look at the front line. 5 Marauders and a 4. The Marines completely covered. And guess what? Where are your Banelings now? Okay, actually, there's 21. But Gabe is gaining ground, and that's all he needs to do. Look at the parade push across the map. The rest of the units joining the fray. We see some Overseers being morphed in. 5 more Mutas, 6 more Banelings. Plus 1 armor being added. Just everything. Right now, in terms of production, everything is on sort of. He needs to make units right now. He needs Banelings. It's like just like 200. Like that Nesty game from 2011. That's a throwback. The splits again, great. There isn't too much left here from Gabe. It does look like he's going to be... No, there's still just enough so reinforcements come in. Supply's relatively even, but Gabe is up in supply against the Zerg player. He's 3-3. Guess what? It's done-ish. And soon this is gonna start looking pretty bad, man.
Gabe's walking this really interesting tightrope right now. HeroMarine is in a tough spot as a Terran player where you have to make these really difficult decisions about how many Marines versus how many Marauders do you want to build. You want a lot of Marauders to tank the Baneling shots. Marauders do incredibly well against Banelings, and you got to have a bunch of them to protect against that. However, if you lose all of your Marines, you don't have enough Marines, then the Marauders and Medivacs are sitting ducks for the Mutalisks that are out, and sort of still has a very healthy Mutalisk block. Those 23 Mutalisks sharking around, trying to find that damage. So HeroMarine doing a very nice job trying to figure out the exact balance of bio units that he wants. Can't have too many Widow Mines, can't have too many Marines, can't have too many Medivacs even, because then you're just not helped out as much. So sort of doing a good job keeping HeroMarine on his toes, but HeroMarine so far making the right decisions. That's one of the only things that I can see going really wrong for HeroMarine right now, is that if he does make one of those mistakes, or sort of is able to pick down one part of his army and then remax on whatever he's weak against, he might have an opportunity. But HeroMarine's moving out again already, Grant.
Yeah, I do think SortOf's counter-attacking prowess has been really, really impressive in this series in general. He seems to always find a way to pull his opponents back, but I think Gabe may be getting a little bit wise to it. He's now starting to keep just a few more units at home instead of pure parade pushing. And look, those Banelings did not connect. And so many morphing in right now, but they're not here right now, and the Widow Mines are going to be able to get into a decent position. The Mutas, don't fly that way, lads. Okay, a few left alive. Right now, army supply 116 to 98. It is 3-3 against 2-2. Marines able to take that one extra hit and trade well against these Mutas as well. Once again, though, Marines have been cleaned up. Sort of doing a much better job this game, despite what the... Oh.
He was doing a much better job this game, cleaning up, staying just as active as he needed to, not over-making units. Unfortunately, HeroMarine is one of those tricky players, tricking sort of a little bit there into thinking, okay, I'm getting tunnel vision, I'm going to beat you here on this very narrow choke point outside your 4th base, whereas really, it was just a distraction play, a ploy, a gambit, a gamble to try and make sort of engage with him, and engage with him sort of did. HeroMarine sniping that 6th base from sort of, and sort of now forced to sort of expand back down to the low ground. No joy found there, and that's going to put sort of even further behind in the income graph. We can see he was ahead for the last 5 minutes or so with those extra bases, but now that has disappeared.
You said that sort of had to do something.
Yes, I did. Totally intentional.
That really made me
good. That's what I'm here for.
I am a child. We have Gabe pushing in once again through the middle. This counter-attack really not finding what it needs. The Mutas really, at this point, being forced to come home. The 4 count isn't too high, only 2 once again. Oh, Mutalis's taking some trades right now. That bunker, that meaty bunker with 6 slots, really gets me going.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, goddamn. 5 Marines in a bunker? Yes. The 4 once again standing in the front lines, tanking. The Mutalist flying over the Marines, and quite a few of them going down these Banelings. Very nice splits by both players in order to get the damage. SortOf is crawling his way back into this. He's now only down 20 supply, whereas he was down like 40 supply. So he's certainly staying alive, but I am a little worried. The best thing for him right now, though, is that his upgrades are catching up. Actually, this game might be swinging a little bit. The supply's still favoring the German by a fairly large amount, but these fights are starting to look kind of a little bit more SortOf, right?
A little bit more SortOf indeed. HeroMarine has generally been staying alive and then staying in the fight for as long as he possibly can. The amount of time that HeroMarine is spending on the front lines has diminished significantly over the course of the series, and now SortOf is finding these little weaknesses. Look at this, a Ling run by into the natural. This would not have even been possible 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes ago in this game, and sort of starting to find these openings. Now, it doesn't mean that HeroMarine's out of the game yet. He's certainly, I mean, you can't even argue that he's behind. I'd say the big difference is that SortOf has had these bases more than HeroMarine for long enough now that it's finally starting to pay off. While HeroMarine is maxed and starting to build up that bank, SortOf actually does have the ability to trade inefficiently now, and that's what he's going to start doing.
Yeah.
So many Banelings, Grant. So many Banelings.
There's a lot of Banelings, but they're getting caught once again, and off creep. It's realistic to say that Gabe shouldn't really take any big connections. As I say, that was like 3 Marauders went down for like 10, 15 Banelings then. It's just not worth it. Banelings are still expensive. But the good thing for SortOf is he has enough bank to be able to make a lot of them. But now we have the big fight coming in. HeroMarine does go off, doesn't really manage to get a great connection. There's a good chunk of Marines in the back left standing, but these free Lings and the Mutas doing a very, very good job of trading here. Now the Mutas, though, undefended, they're going to absolutely melt under Marine fire. Marauders tanking in the front line, and this is a trade most definitely that Gabe can take, because the Muta count has just been absolutely decimated. 47 die in total this game, and Mutas cost more than Marines.
They absolutely do, Grant. And those Marines from HeroMarine looking solid. HeroMarine happy to stand and fight there, trading out.
Yeah, more CCs coming down at the other side of the map. We can see +2 vehicle weapons coming in now for our Terran player as well. He's getting more Widow Mines, adding on more production facilities. He's already producing 12 Marines at a time, and Marines are pretty good, so that's not a bad thing to have going your way.
You know what's Sorry, you know what's interesting, Grant, is that the Thor count is not as high this game as it was last game. We saw Gabe transitioning into Thors a little bit earlier last game. He didn't ever have like a ton on the map, but he did have them much earlier, which is able to zone out those Mutalisks and make sure that the engagement that they took were much less effective. This game, HeroMarine with fewer Thors on the map, and he's only now finally going up to Fusion Core to get those Liberators into his build.
Yeah, now it looks like Gabe is going to try and mix things up a little bit. His standard way of handling things, so just push through the middle, kind of not work. So he is starting to split his army a bit, which is traditionally un-Gabe-like, but he's a caliber of player that can play any style, right? He can do what he wants, and it's probably going to work. Another Muta counter-attack. The Muta count's still very good at 19, 18, 17, but still very healthy. Ling counter-attack as well, but workers just aren't dying. In fact, 7 workers died at the northwest side of the map. I really had to think about where I had to go north. It's a tough one. Never eat shredded wheat to figure out which side that was. But HeroMarine still stands strong. His work account's still 80, give or take. His upgrades all the way done. His vehicle upgrades on the way. And I don't know. We're getting to hyper late game now, where Fusion Core, there it is, coming down, and Gabe is I think I probably favor him hyper late game, but this is the sort of I wanted to see. He looks like if you were playing against a lesser Terran, I would have been like SortOf wins. Against a lot of work as well.
Yeah, sort of playing out of his mind right now, but I don't think it's enough for HeroMarine. HeroMarine's still barely ahead, sort of chasing down as best he can with these Mutalisks. HeroMarine actually pretty low on actual army units, only 17 Marines, 9 Marauders down right now, and too many Medivacs, 12 Medivacs down. That's a huge chunk of his army supply, and sort of is all in Ling, Bane, Muta, and all of those units do active damage.
Yeah, the Medivac count is a little bit too high, and I mean, sure, they're good for healing workers. And Gabe losing very few workers, but you look at the supplies at 120 to 90. When you think 12 of that is Medivacs, that is Medivacs taking up a big chunk of that supply here for the German Terran player, which means in reality he only actually has 30 Marines and 16 Marauders right now, 1, 4, and 4 Widow Mines. It's not a big army. Even maxed, it's not as big as it could be. That's what she said. I can't believe I said that.
Nice work, Grant. Very nice.
Another base being sniped though. This is what Gabe needs. He needs to, if we're going to go further into this, if we're going to go to hyper late game, pick off more of these bases, really slow down the banking potential of SortOf. And I mean, look at the supply, Todd.
Oh, come on. I'm nowhere near as handsome as Todd. You can't put that kind of pressure on me, Grant.
Those tattoos, look down.
It's incredible. Again, we see sort of driving HeroMarine out here. HeroMarine trying to pressure more and more of these bases. He did snipe 2 of them. And here's one of the big differences right now is that HeroMarine has been sniping bases left and right, whereas sort of has been getting in, maybe killing a few workers, but the bases are actually still mostly intact for HeroMarine. If you look at the resource or the units lost tab, we'll see that not a single command center has gone down this game. No orbital commands, no planetaries, and 5 hatcheries have been sniped so far. And so, of course, hatcheries, as we said yesterday, Zerg hatcheries so much more important because not only, and sort of knows it, I think he just sort of got choked out there at the end.